Hi, I'm Charlie, and this is Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders is available both as a podcast, wherever you get great podcasts, and on video on our YouTube channel, Cooking Secrets for Men. And check out our other podcast, Munching Around Milwaukee, where we talk with local chefs, restaurateurs, foodies, and food influencers about the great, vibrant food scene we have here in Milwaukee. But today, on Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders, my guest is Amanda Hernandez. Amanda,
Hi.
good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So Amanda is the Vice President, Community Accountability Officer for Associated Bank. Associated Bank is the proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Film Festival, not under your command, but, you know, we love the film festival and also in Associated Bank. Amanda has about 20 years and counting experience in community service and philanthropy. She's on the list of the most influential Hispanic leaders in Wisconsin. She, last year, received an award from her alma mater, St. Joan Antietam High School, where she received the Leadership in Women, the Trailblazer in Women's Leadership Award.
Yes.
Got most of the words right. So thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
I'm excited.
Good. Let's start. We usually start at the beginning. So talk a little bit about your early years. I know you're born here in Milwaukee.
Yep. I'm a South Sider, born and raised, right off of 32nd and Lincoln.
Okay.
Grew up there my entire life. My mom actually worked at Allen Bradley for 37 years, which is now Rockwell. So
Right.
I really consider our roots very deep in the South Side of Milwaukee. And grew up there, went to school right across the street from my house, Catholic school. Went on to St. Joan Antietam High School that you mentioned, which is on the east side. So then it took me from my little world of the south side, took the 14 bus to the east side of Milwaukee and went to school at St. John's, it's an all-women's Catholic high school. Fantastic. Had a great time there. Then I started out at Marquette University. I was in EOP program, Equal Opportunity Program for first-generation college students. Marquette wasn't the best fit for me, so I found my way to Alverno, which is where I definitely thrived because I have learned in my life I am a person who thrives in an all-women education.
Okay.
So it was very much like my high school, which I know for some people they're trying to get away from that, but I loved that environment, so it was fantastic. I went over to Alverno, got my degree in a program called Community Leadership and Development, which is really focused on the nonprofit sector. It was a fantastic program, did that, and then about maybe a couple years after that, I decided it was time to get my MBA, so I went to Cardinal Stritch, did their part-time evening program, got my master's degree, did that while I had a 2-year-old and a 2-month-old. Yeah, I was able to earn that degree, and once I got that, I started applying for jobs that were more in the nonprofit sector, because before that I was in corporate.
Okay.
That's the story.
So I wanted to point out, so you grew up on the South Side and you're South Sider, but your college, Alverno's on the South Side, Stritch is on the North Side, and Marquette's right downtown.
Yeah.
So you stretched up and down 43 and 94 and anyway.
Definitely, yeah, and that's why I consider myself a true Milwaukee girl. Like I've been all over and just really been immersed myself in different parts of the city, and it's been a great experience.
So you started to talk a little bit about your early career. So talk about what you were doing leading up to Associated Bank.
Yeah, so like I said, I was in the corporate sector for a little bit, but that was just kind of because I was figuring out what do I want to do. I had a sister-in-law who, earlier in her career, she was a social worker, and that's kind of how I got the exposure to the nonprofit sector and what they do. I don't think before that I truly understood what went on in the nonprofit sector. So through my sister-in-law, she's a great mentor of mine. Just kind of figured out I like that. That's the space I want to be in. So I started working for a nonprofit association management company. So it was a medical association, nonprofit, but just different. I was more planning conferences, like national conferences for doctors throughout the United States. So I was helping them get their continuing education credits to further their career and serve the people of their communities. But after I earned my master's degree, I knew I wanted to do something that was more local. So I found an organization called Wisconsin Philanthropy Network, which is another membership association, but just a little different. It's statewide, so state of Wisconsin. It is a membership association of funders.
Mm-hmm.
So we have folks that are community foundations, corporate foundations, family foundations. All of those types of funders belong to Wisconsin Philanthropy Network. And my job there was Director of Program Development. And I created programming to that would better serve those funders to grant their dollars to folks in the community. So got to work with Greater Milwaukee Foundation, so that's how I met your lovely wife, Ellen. And it was just a really neat experience. I got to know people statewide and just learn more about the work that is going on in our state to make it a better living space for everyone.
Well, I have to tell you this just as an aside. I was at a party last night for Joanne Anton, she's giving the commencement address twice for UWM. And so she's a good friend, asked me who's on the show, and I said, Amanda Hernandez. Oh, I know Amanda, and she was at the Philanthropy, where's she now, blah, blah. And then Angela Adams was there and said, oh yeah, I know Amanda. So your reputation preceded you on the show today of people, it was a small gathering of people celebrating Joanne's, her her doctorate, her honorary doctorate she's getting, and also, can you imagine giving 2 commencement speakers?
No, she's fantastic.
Yes.
I love Joanne. And that's really exciting to hear because all of those folks that I met through Wisconsin Philanthropy Network, I really looked up to all of them and just the work they were doing. And that's actually what led me to Associated, because I thought, I want to do that. I want to be a funder. I want to work for an organization, and at the time it didn't matter to me if it was community, family, corporate. I just wanted to work in that philanthropy space because I learned so much from them. I brought speakers to them to help them, but then I was able to learn at the same time as they were. So I felt like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this because it sounds like a really neat job, but when once you're in it, you're like, man, there's just it's tough.
Right.
I mean, because you have to, while you get to say yes often, there's so many more times you have to say no. So I feel like Wisconsin Philanthropy Network really prepared me for being in that philanthropic space where I got to help make those decisions of the organizations, and if they're getting their grant dollars approved or not. So that was a fantastic experience, and then that's what led me to Associated Banks Foundation.
Okay. So let's talk about Associated. Tell us a little bit about what you do there and the work that's being done in the community.
Okay. Associated Bank Foundation is their own corporate foundation, and their purpose is to work with, their goal is to work with they want to have financially stronger community, colleagues, and customers, and doing that through an equitable and inclusive environment. And with that, we fund in 3 specific areas: affordable housing, workforce development, and small business.
Okay.
So those are the 3 bucket areas we fund in, which is what kind of helps us keep our alignment when we're looking at our nonprofits of who we're going to fund, because there's so many people doing such great work, but they really need to fit in those 3 key areas for us to be able to support them. So that's my job. But my key areas are Milwaukee, which is it's huge. It's a
Right.
beast. So that's the bulk of my time is spent on Milwaukee, but I also cover Kenosha, Racine, and Walworth counties.
Okay.
And I'm helping in Chicago right now. So
In Chicago?
Yes. So
Okay.
we're just, I work with those market areas and work with the nonprofits that are in those spaces, and it's just really building and cultivating relationships with the different organizations and reaching out to the folks that are in those 3 different bucket areas that we fund, and seeing how we can assist them, whether it's a grant or volunteerism. We even do like laptop donation, just really anything that they need, because our goal is to really create more of a trust-based philanthropy approach where it's a relationship. It's not supposed to be transactional. It's
Right.
them coming to us and saying, hey, we we're down an HR person, or we don't have an HR department, and we really need to create an employee manual. Well, we have a whole HR department here. Let's see if any of them will volunteer their time and they can help you. Or it's, we need, funding for this workforce development program. Okay, well, there's a monetary donation. So we just kind of look at what are the areas that we can assist them to, so they can continue doing the work that they're doing, which is just so important.
Sure. All right. So Associated Bank doing a lot of great work
Yes.
in the community. So we call this series People with Serious Jobs Having a Little Fun. We're going to have a little fun. So I want to give you one of our aprons. So you came nicely dressed, as
Yes.
most people do. There's some who don't, and you all know who you are. So I have two questions. What are we making today? And I guess it's more of a statement. I understand we have a guest helper that will be joining us.
We do. So we're making, I don't know what the official name of it is. I think it's Italian, or it's gnocchi with Italian sausage.
Okay.
It's a recipe I came across that's a nice, easy weeknight meal that kind of pleases different people with different likes, and it works in our household because I have a wide range of things that my kids won't eat, and this is something that they will eat. So we're doing that. It's a nice one-pot meal. You can do the prep work ahead of time, so that helps too, and it's 25 minutes in the oven and done after you just do a little work on the stovetop.
Okay.
And yeah, we're making that. And my special guest is my son, Jack Buckley.
Okay.
He is a senior at Rufus King.
Jack's out there in the audience somewhere.
He is heading out to UW-Madison this fall,
Okay.
as he is majoring in biomedical engineering. I always say it wrong.
Well, that's good. And Jack can cook.
Jack is my little chef. He has been cooking since he was tiny. He loves it, and he is just very fancy and makes me some really great meals. But this is one that he actually likes that I make.
Good. Well, Jack is not tiny any longer, as you'll see in just a minute. So we've done a little bit of prep work. Give us a minute. We'll go back here and set up in the kitchen, and then we'll be right back. All right. So here we are, the kitchen area, and here's our special guest, Jack. Jack, good to see you. And Amanda's going to be just like home. Amanda's going to tell Jack what to do.
Absolutely.
All right. So Amanda, why don't you ahead and take it away.
All right, let's get started. First thing is we add in the Italian sausage.
All right. So we got about a pound of that.
I can't get it
You can
out
use your
here.
hands.
I can? Okay.
Sure.
And we're going to brown that, and then we're going to add in the onions as well. Do you see the onions? Here they are.
All right. So we got about a pound of ground beef.
And then we want to get everything that basically smells good into the pot first.
All right.
So that, and then the salt, the pepper. Can I use these, I'm assuming?
Sure. Salt, pepper.
I'm not as savvy as Jack is in the kitchen. And then we're going to add in a little bit of black pepper. Here we go. Can you open that for me, buddy?
All right, so Jack has got his first duty, which is opening up the black pepper.
Just sprinkle that in just to taste, And then we're going to get the garlic into, so it's 3 cloves. Put that in there.
And Jack, since you're working now in an Italian restaurant, there's a rule that there is no such thing as too much garlic.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely follow that rule in our household.
There you go. All right. So we have salt, pepper, garlic, onion, Italian sausage.
Yes.
We could stop right here, but we're not going to.
Yeah.
Right. So you were saying that this is a dish that you make a lot at home?
We do. My kids don't often agree on the foods that they like, but this is the one thing that everyone's in agreement on.
Jack, is that true?
That's very true.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
Even my picky brother will eat it.
Yeah. And it's nice because it's one pot. Do everything on the stovetop, and you stick it in the oven so you can go do other things. And it gives us a lot of leftovers, which is super key in our house. All right, so just keep browning this, and then once this is browned, we're gonna add in some cornstarch just to thicken it a little bit.
Jack, I'm gonna give you, can you thicken that?
Yeah, at home I would normally do flour, but we're trying to make this more friendly to our folks that have some dietary restrictions. So if you are at home, if you don't have any dietary restrictions, flour is perfectly fine as well.
Right. All right. So we're gonna we're gonna put the cornstarch in after the
Yeah, we got
we got some chicken broth. And we have some, and some cream right there.
Yeah, so we'll get this browned up and then we'll add that in just to thicken it a little bit, and then we add in the other items you just mentioned. So we're getting there.
And when do we put in the Italian seasoning?
Oh my gosh, we missed that. We need that right now.
It's right here.
1 teaspoon, sorry.
You can eyeball too. That's my sister's, Anne's brand. She sells all kinds of stuff, and that's her Italian spice blend.
That looks awesome.
So the meat looks like it's getting
Yeah, it's just,
close to
I
done.
think it's just about there.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna add in our liquids, which is chicken broth and whipping cream, and it's a cup for both.
Right. So we've got some heavy whipping
Just
cream.
Pour that in there,
1 cup.
and then here's our chicken broth.
Same chicken broth. That was my stir.
You wanna get this in there for me, Jeff?
All right, Jack. Look at Jack. Jack works in 2 restaurants. One Italian restaurant, so you know he knows what he's doing. And then his dad's restaurant is Buckley's here. And I happen to know your dad through Facebook, and he's coming on the other show at some point where we do Munching Around Milwaukee, where it's a podcast for about food in the area. So
Oh, that's gonna be great.
be a family affair.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to let this simmer for a minute, try to incorporate, and then, so I put in the cornstarch, and that'll help thicken it. Cornstarch is a natural thickener that's gluten-free. All right. All right, so that was about a tablespoon of cornstarch with cold water.
Yeah, and I would say the chopping and just the waiting for it to thicken is honestly the longest part of this entire
Right.
recipe. That's why I really love to make this on a weeknight.
Okay. Is Jack doing the chopping during the weeknight?
Unfortunately, he is not. Jack is very busy. He's in his senior year at Rufus King, so he is just all over the place doing different things. And you mentioned the 2 restaurants he works at. He actually has a 3rd restaurant. He works
I work at Caulfield's Wine Bar.
Oh,
It's
sure.
in West Dallas.
Uh-huh.
It's a little wine bar we opened up in January.
Wow.
New Year's Eve, actually.
So yeah, Jack
So you're a
is
busy young
hard
man.
at work. Yeah, he's getting ready for trying to save up a lot of money for college, so he doesn't have to work freshman year. And yeah, he's a really hard worker.
Yeah, looks like it's thickening nicely.
It is.
All right.
Right.
So to point out in the audience is Louise, who was here with our county exec David Crowley when he was in. So Louise is a veteran of cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. He's going to get, what did we make? Oh, we made those chicken parm sandwiches.
And the broccoli.
Yeah. And so we preheated the oven to 350, and once we put all the rest of the ingredients in, how long do we cook in the oven?
20 minutes.
All right, so 20 minutes in the oven.
20 minutes for baking, and then about another 3 to 5 to broil.
All right, so we're going to bake it and then broil it.
And it comes out
A nice
piping
crispy
hot.
top. All right. So we need double trivets.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, audience getting restless out there.
So when you're at this point, you really want to make sure you don't burn it on the bottom. If you burn it on the bottom, it's just not gonna
Right.
it's not gonna taste as great as it would normally. So you have to really keep moving it around.
Is that my hint? To move it more?
A little bit.
Jack has prom tonight, so
Whoa.
starting his prom day off with some
You gonna
gnocchi at 9 a.m.
you gonna take this and feed it to your date?
I will.
Save on the restaurant.
I think we're there. I think we can add, the other stuff will thicken it up.
All right.
So let's add in the gnocchi and the spinach.
All right. So we got a little over a pound of gluten-free gnocchi, which is potatoes. All right. So the gnocchi we're putting in dry,
Yeah.
and it'll absorb some of the liquid for the sauce.
Yep, just kind of scattered it around, and then I will, kind
All right.
of
So we've got
just
some
mix it nice.
chopped spinach, frozen chopped spinach that we defrosted and got rid of the liquid as best we could. Solar Planet Jack has the old school apron on because he's not quite yet a community leader like his mom, but he might get there someday.
I think he will. He's doing a great job.
All right, so this is coming together. It's got a little color in it.
Yep. So just kind of stir this up just to get it all kind of evenly distributed. And then once we do that, we just add in the cheese all over and pop it in the oven, and that's it.
Okay. So Jack, I got one thing I'm gonna have you do once we get it out of the oven, which is I'm gonna have you do a little chiffonade of the basil that we use as a garnish, and we'll also have some parm to top if we need that too.
All right, so I think we can add in, do you want to just sprinkle this all over
All right.
evenly?
So we're putting in some shredded mozzarella, or for you gringos out there, mozzarella cheese.
All right, and then this one, buddy, and then just sprinkle that all over.
All right, so we got some parm.
We're done. Yeah.
All right, so a little parm on top, or just
Oh,
kinda,
actually, no, just do like 1 more teaspoon. So it's really 2 tablespoons, but I just kind of eyeball it and just where it's covering the whole thing.
All right. So I think we'll have Jack lift that because it's
Turn
kind of
on
heavy. You better
oven.
put on the gloves, Jack.
Yes, very hot.
So we got our oven at 350. We've got our cheese on top. We're going to let this go for about 20 minutes.
And I do cover it, but I think we're fine.
We have some foil if you want to put it on.
You want to?
Yeah, take it off and broil it.
All right, so we got some foil going to go on top.
And then the only when I uncover it, it's just when I'm broiling it, then I pull that cover off.
All right, very cool. All right, so the up.
All right.
All right, so
Stick it in there.
yeah, it's heavy.
Set it and forget it, just like the commercial.
All right. So in the oven, so we got 20 minutes.
Yep, 20
And
minutes.
so give us a couple minutes to let this bubble and whatever else, and then we'll come back and finish the dish.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're back. The gnocchi Italian sausage has been in for about 20 minutes, so Jack, why don't you take it out? All right, that heavy old,
Ooh.
yeah, it's heavy. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so we're gonna broil this under the broiler. So we're gonna brown this in the oven, and then we're gonna top it with a little, we got a little basil over there, and then, Jack, you wanna show off your chiffonade skills?
Can we do it right now?
Sure. So Jack's gonna chiffonade some basil. Put him on the spot. Ooh, that looks good. So chiffonade just means it's French for little ribbons. Make it, and we're just going to scatter it over top of. So you roll up the basil leaves. Jack's growing up in restaurants and working at 3 places.
Yep, I've grown in restaurants my entire life.
All right, so just look at those knife skills. Look at that. That is impressive. I have to slow down because I'll cut off my fingers. All right, so that's our basil chiffonade. We're going to put that on top. So we'll put this in to broil, and then give us a minute. All right, we're back. So, Amanda, Jack, why don't you show us what we got, and Amanda, tell us what we got.
Yeah, so this is the final product of our gnocchi with Italian sausage.
It's very heavy.
So we got Italian sausage, we got gnocchi, we've got
Lots of cheese.
cheese, spinach, and Jack's basil chiffonade on top, and we've got a little extra basil and some parm for those that so. So Jack, I'm going to ask you if you don't mind serving. So serve your mom first because she is the guest. You're a guest. She is the guest. If that makes any sense. It's just steaming hot.
Yes, very hot.
Look at that. Wow. You can smell the. Did a great job all the way around. All right, so this for Amanda.
I'll serve you next.
Well, I appreciate that, but see, he was raised right. Good young man.
Yeah, and this is, I think, even better
Jack,
the next day.
give me a little of that stuff on the side there.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
The good.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, I don't want to, I don't want to be insulting to Amanda. And then we've got a couple people out in the audience who will be serving too. Get their input. All right, so Jack is. Let me give you here. All right. So Jack's a growing boy, so he needs more. All right, and we'll make
Spinach.
2 more plates. So, Jack, if you could serve those and take over to the audience, that'd be great. And then Amanda and I will. You can come back and catch up eating. So Amanda and I are going to start.
Yeah.
All right. Napkin.
All right, it's hot, so prepare yourself.
like the melted, the baked cheese on top. Not only smells good, but it tastes good.
Yeah, it worked. It tastes good.
Jack is putting his restaurant experience to good use here by serving the guests. There's Tom and Luis.
Yep, just like at home.
I'm going to put a little basil on top of mine. And I'm going to spread just a teeny bit of parm. Amanda, you want any?
No, I'm good. There's plenty of cheese on here for
Jack?
me.
No? Tom, you guys want some parm?
I'll try it first without it.
I got to have parm and basil for... Thank you. That's a mom thing. Drop my napkin. All right. It's delicious. I mean, it's easy to prepare, very tasty, a lot of flavors. The Italian part, of course, is the best because I am Italian. And we made it gluten-free because we use cornstarch instead of flour. So, Tom, I know you're watching your gluten intake. Not really.
First off, I like everything about it because it has Italian sauce, there's spinach, which I like, cheese, which I like, basil, which I like.
So
And
Tom
I
likes
really
it.
like it.
Tom likes everything.
I especially like this. Grew up in an Italian neighborhood.
Well, this is a team effort.
Absolutely. You did a good job, Jack.
Thanks.
Got the audience peppering us with questions now. Before you take another bite, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
Yeah, this was fun.
Jack, pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks
Good
for
young
letting me
man.
do this.
Heading off to Madison for college because he couldn't get into Maryland. Oh, sorry. I went to Maryland in case you couldn't guess. Anyway, appreciate Amanda coming and Jack also. The work that she's done in the community her entire career speaks for itself. The work that's being done in Associated Bank is important in our community in today's times where certain parts of the economy are under attack. We'll just leave it at that. So continue the great work, and you're welcome to come back anytime. But thanks so much for supporting Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Each week we talk to one of our community leaders. We talk about what the work that they're doing here in the community. Then we cook something, then we eat it. Jack, come on closer to me. There you go. Jack in the shot. So again, thanks. See you next time. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
All right, we're out of here.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders is brought to you by Cooking Secrets for Men, LLC, and was recorded in the 3rd Ward in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We feature and profile community leaders who are trying to make Milwaukee a better place. The tagline is, serious people with serious jobs having a little fun. Our guests choose the recipes that we use on the show. All of our podcasts are available on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get great podcasts. The original YouTube video for this episode is available on our YouTube channel, Cooking Secrets for Men, all rights reserved. Thanks, and see you next time on Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders.